Hello BookTube, my name is Danica and today I have a book haul for you. If you saw my other videos, you know that I was really excited to go to Leakycon and I have come back and it was amazing. It was like the best experience of my life. But I also went to Powell's and I got a bunch of books, so I thought I would share them with you. So the first one I wanted to share with you, actually I got before I left for my trip as a review copy, but it fits. Queers Dig Time Lords, which is a book about Doctor Who from a queer perspective, which I'm really excited about. Apparently they did another book called Chicks Dig Time Lords, which is Doctor Who from women's perspectives, and I've heard really good things. I read the introduction and I really liked it, so this will probably be the next book I read. The next book I got at Leakycon, and it is Mark Reed's The Deathly Hallows. I actually already have all of these in ebook format, but we met Mark. He signed a book for me and my partner, so we decided to get the physical copy as well. The next book I got, the author was at Leakycon and she was doing signings, so I got Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins because I've heard so much about it on YouTube that I needed to get it myself, and it is signed. The last book I got at Leakycon was at a booth for queer comics, which I was not expecting to see there, and I got The Legend of Bold Riley, which is actually a book I've been wanting for ages, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere, and it's supposed to be amazing. The blurb on the front cover is by one of the writers of Buffy, a lesbian graphic novel, woman of color as the main character. It's just supposed to be an amazing fantasy, and I was so surprised and so glad to see it there. I needed to pick it up right away. So the next books I wanted to show you I got at Powell's. Powell's, I think, is a bookstore that anyone should go to who likes books if you can. It's amazing, it's huge, I love it because there's a whole aisle of lesbian fiction, and every time I just go and stare because I'm so happy it's there. This time I compiled a whole list and I tried to stick to my list of books that I could only get at Powell's that I haven't been able to find here in my hometown. The first is The Woman Who Loved the Moon by Elizabeth A. Lynn, and it's a fantasy short story collection, a lesbian fantasy from the 70s? No, the 80s. And I've heard good things about this author, so I'm excited to try that one. The next is The Butches of Madison County by Ellen Orleans, which is supposed to be just sort of like a humorous lesbian fiction. Honestly, a lot of these books I added to my wish list years ago, and I no longer remember exactly why I wanted them, but I don't know, it still looks good, and I got it for $1.50, so that's pretty good either way. The next one is The Cook and the Carpenter, a novel by the Carpenter, which is supposed to be a fictionalized account of some lesbian politics in the 1970s. It's supposed to be sort of like an obscure lesbian classic. There are no pronouns in it, or they're all gender-neutral pronouns. I really like the idea of books where they don't let you know the gender of the people involved, even though this is supposed to be a lesbian book, which is like Written on the Body by Jeanette Winterson. Similarly, it's also considered a lesbian book, but it's gender neutral throughout. So I'm really interested to read this one and see what it's like. The next two are lesbian teen books. Crashing America by Katia Noyes. It's a story of a road trip. That's about all I know about it, but I like the cover and it looks like it'll be good. The next book I got was Getting Somewhere by Beth, Neff, and it's a story about 4 girls who go to a detention center together, and it's supposed to have some lesbian content. Again, that's about all I know about this one. I also got a book of poetry by Eileen Myles, who is supposed to be amazing. I have a friend who's a huge fan, but her books are like notoriously hard to get a hold of. So I haven't heard about this one in particular, School of Fish, but I've heard good things about all of her poetry, so I'm excited to actually try it. I've never read any of hers before. I also got Following Djuna, which is a lesbian literary criticism book talking about lesbian fiction in the tradition of Nightwood versus in the tradition of Radcliffe Hall's The Well of Loneliness, which is a really obscure topic, but I think it'll be great. I also got Revenge of the Women's Studies Professor by Bonnie J. Morris, which is kind of a defense of women's studies departments, but it's also supposed to be really funny. And then I got 2 mangas. Strawberry Panic, Volume 2. I actually haven't read the first one yet, but I own it. I have heard this mentioned over and over as a good Yuri manga, and I haven't really read a lot of Yuri, so I want to see what this one's like. I also got Revolutionary Girl Utena, Volume 1, which I have read before as a library book, but I'm trying to collect the set. And the last book I got, I have mentioned in a previous video, Mark Oshiro. That was Mark Reed's Deathly Hallows. I actually ran into him while I was in Powell's, and he recommended a book to me, so I had to get it right away. Perdido Street Station by China Miéville. I'm about 150 pages in right now. It's really interesting. It is like a whole huge world in this book. It's kind of overwhelming. There's tons of descriptions, tons of different races and beings and politics, and the city is described in such detail, and it's kind of disgusting, but I'm really loving it so far. It's huge though, so it might take me a little while to get through. And Mark warned me that after I finish this, I will immediately want to pick up the next one because it's part of a trilogy. So I might be committed to this one for a while, but that's okay. So those are the books that I picked up while I was on vacation. Let me know if you've read any of them, if you want to read any of them, anything else you'd like to comment, and thanks for watching.